KNUCKLE, and today we have John Adams and Zelda Adams from the movie Knuckle Jack. Well, thanks, guys, for joining us today. It's awesome to have you guys here.
We're fired up to be here.
Yeah.
This has been an amazing festival with great people. I can't say enough about it. This is why we do this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Just real quickly, for people who haven't seen the movie, give us a rundown of Knuckle Jack.
Knuckle Jack's a story about a guy who's got some drug problems. Basically, he's using chemicals to kind of cover up an accident that he had as a child. And so he's given custody of his niece for the summer because of some circumstances, and he has to take care of his niece. And so basically, it's a story about how youth, the beauty of youth, kind of shines down on the cynicism of adults. And it's a great, funny, honest story.
Excellent. And you wrote the story, is that what I understand?
Yeah, we wrote it as a family. You know,
Uh-huh.
we work as a family. We shoot our films as a family. Everything's done as a family. The sound, the editing, the music, the story. So my wife and I, talk a lot about what we want to do, and then we bounce it off the kids. The kids always come up with their ideas, what they think's important, how their vision from a younger point of view, and that's really important to us. And then we kind of nail it down, and we roll.
That's pretty awesome. And that's one of the questions I've been asking is about the casting, and especially when you have like certain roles that are played by certain people. And so obviously the role of the younger girl is, I was going to ask about that, but it's your daughter, so that's pretty amazing. And I was going to ask, was it complicated or hard to find? Obviously it wasn't, because you had that in mind. But I guess, Zelda, my question for you would be like, what other things have you played in or have you acted in with the group?
With my family
Mhm.
too. Our first movie, Rumble Strips, I played the younger sister named Zelda, and John was in it, Toby was in it, and my sister Lulu was in it. Lulu wasn't in this one, Knuckle Jack, but she was in the first one. And for Knuckle Jack, she wanted to be like behind the camera. So, but in the first one, Rumble Strips, Toby, Lulu, and I were like the main characters, and Dad was like the guy who came along, and he was kind of a bad guy, I guess.
And this particular role is kind of difficult to play for someone so young. So was acting something that you've always wanted to do?
Yeah, I like acting. I guess I get it from my mom and dad, because Toby and John are good actors. So
Toby's a real actress. Her mom's a real actress.
Okay.
And she is like her mom. Her mom's really, an actress. And this kid can act.
And so the question I guess I have next is like, I've talked to a lot of different filmmakers, and I know people who do things improv, people who do things scripted. Obviously, this is a written and scripted movie. So when we're setting up a scene in this film to do something, and was there a lot of coaching involved, or did you already know her part, or?
Well, really, I guess we had a script, but we didn't like read over it and say exactly what it said. We would say, before the scene, we would say, basically, we're going to be doing this and that, and you think of something to react to that. Like, you would react to something that Knuckle Jack would say during the thing. So, it's kind of improv, but kind of not. Like, you know what you're, like, trying to do. Like,
Right.
If it's, like, about somebody liking cake, you have to say something about loving cake.
Right.
Like that.
I think one of the best scenes, and I loved it in the movie, was when he keeps saying, you peed the bed, and then it's like, I didn't sleep in the bed, and I thought that was great. It was
Yeah,
like
we loved that.
really deadpan, like I slept on the couch, and then that realization of, oh man, that was me.
Yeah, well,
You
we
can see-
love that for a bunch of reasons. The fact that he pisses in the bed and she doesn't is, kind of showing that they're crisscrossing in terms of like character growth. he's going downhill and she's going uphill. Like she starts out the movie wetting the bed because she's scared, she's nervous, and she's alone, you know. And he's fine in his drunkenness and his chemicalness, you know. But as his responsibilities, you know, get heavier, he sinks down, she goes up. You know, she stops wetting the bed, she becomes more mature. She's the one who starts kind of nurturing him. Whereas now he's starting to piss the bed. So it's fun watching the two of them kind of pass each other.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's a pretty, like, when you think about the tone of the film, it's pretty heavy. It's pretty serious. You know, you got a kid who can't be with her mother, and then you have this guy who's just lived this life, and he's gonna keep like there's no sign of him maturing. It's just gonna be this way. And then they're in this situation together, and you know there's growing pains to that, and you can see it in the film, and it's kind of heavy, and just like really to meet you, Zelda, in real life, and like see how like mature you are, and like the answers that you're giving me is really great. Was that something that you guys always think about when you're writing? Like, are we going to tackle something that's really? I mean, obviously you're not pulling punches in this film, and I love it. I love it. It's art.
Yeah. You know, we love real life, you know? Real life is, like, funny. Like, well, we've all been through hell and back. And the only way to go through hell is to laugh it through it, I think. That's how I deal with it. So in our movies, we try to go through hell and laugh at it. And so, you know, like, so we try to deliver the truth about situations, you know what I mean? Like drugs. Like, I was a drug addict, you know, and I've had... you know, and this isn't like I'm not trying to play violin because it's all funny and good and it's okay. Okay, I've been a drug addict and I've had cancer and my wife's been through a bunch of crazy shit and our kids will go through some crazy shit, you know? And for us, as a family of filmmakers, and just as a family, we like to talk about that stuff, we like to be honest with that stuff, we like to help each other through that stuff, and we think that it's important to just talk it through. Like, I'm asking my kids advice all the time about my life, about grown-up situations, and they help me a lot because they're very clear. And so I think that we just like to mix kind of comedy, not slapstick like ho ho, but comedy where all of us sitting in the audience can look at Jack and be like, okay, I've done that.
Yeah, been there.
I'm like, you know, everybody kind of, the reason people laugh is because they know that person or they are that person to some extent. So we try to have fun by, like, we don't want to deliver a big old heavy sad movie. That's not fun. We want people to have fun, and we want them to laugh at themselves and at us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's amazing. You mentioned it, and you mentioned it the first time I met you, which recently, is that you are a filmmaking family, and that's, to me, that's an amazing thing. It's really cool. I've met musician families. I've never met a filmmaking family, and I guess I gotta ask, like, how did that come about? Did the kids just say, "Hey, we want to do this too," or did this become a family thing? Or
do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
There was a couple things. My wife is an actress. She was already past 40. Not getting any roles. We had moved to Los Angeles because I was on a little TV show, and she was frustrated because she's really the actress. I was on a TV show that had something to do because I was in a band, and she was frustrated. And you know, the industry doesn't give a shit about someone over 40, a woman over 40. You know, unless they're already a star.
Right.
They don't want to. You know, and she actually had done some cool stuff, and she was frustrated. And at the same time, my older daughter and Zelda were talking about, they would see some TV shows and they were talking about, hey, we'd like to be an actress. And so we had the three girls kind of talking about being actresses. We were watching, my wife was frustrated, and I said, why don't you write a script and we'll shoot it ourselves, because I had seen on my TV show that you could do it. I watched the producers, I watched the cameraman, I watched the sound man. Generally, when you're like on one of those jobs, the technicians and the artists are kind of more fun than the people in front of the camera. Not to be a jerk, but it's kind of true. I liked hanging out with the cameraman. And I saw, hey, you know what? We could do this. Technology's good enough now that people like us, you and me and Bree, we can learn how to edit. You know what I mean? And we don't need $150,000 to buy the equipment. We can shoot with an Nikon, and you can record on Pro Tools. these are all things that like are affordable. If you put in the time to learn the software, you can do it. So my wife and I decided let's try to do this. So she wrote a really fun script, and we went and traveled. We lived in an RV and shot a movie that of over a year. And so it was just a process of basically going and realizing your dreams instead of wondering why nobody is realizing your dreams.
Seems to be kind of a lost art, and I'm kind of glad that you're passing it on to your kids. We talk a lot about the American spirit. It seems to sometimes be gone. Like, no one invents anything new anymore. No one, it's like they would do it, but they're afraid what people think about them, or they're afraid of that they might fail, so they don't want to try it all. And it just seems to be a lost art when something like that happens, which is why independent film, I think, is so important.
Well, you make a great point. You guys are here, and we're here for you, and Anthony's here. If they don't know who Anthony is the person who's running the Victoria
Right.
Film Festival, supporting each other.
Right.
So this is why it works. And this is what we've discovered, is people like you. Okay, so this is what's important to us, is that we get to come to Victoria. Zelda and I now have friends in Victoria. They're artists. You guys are artists. Anthony's an artist. We just met these two other artists. And so there is like this fertile ground of like really cool people. It's kind of like you and I were just talking about hardcore in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those 80s bands, it's giving me goosebumps. Those 80s bands became huge to people like me through fanzines.
Yeah.
And me traveling 3 hours to get to a record store in New York City. And
Right.
so now you and I, we got the internet, so we're going to now be friends. We're going to network. And so there's a ton of power for people like us. We don't even have to go to the monster. We do not have to bow in front of the monster anymore. Now we get to just walk right around the big lumbering monster that's putting out stuff that we don't care about.
Right.
So it's really fun. It's a great time to be an artist.
I agree.
And follow the dream that you said, the American dream. It's really cool.
So, what's the reception been like for the film so far?
It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think people like it, so that's good. Right?
Has it shown at other festivals or?
Yes. It's been doing really well in the festivals, and once again, it just goes right back to what we were talking about before. There's a great support group for us and each other.
And I gotta ask you, so how's Victoria been treating you guys so far?
I called my wife even after the first day, and I said, I think this might be the best festival we've been to.
Awesome. That's
Cool.
People are super nice. So.
I mean, yeah. What do you think?
Awesome. People are really nice. It's pretty here, and I really like it. So.
We've had great conversations. We've met some other great artists. You can tell when a festival's run well when we're meeting other great artists. Because we don't want to come to Victoria and just show our film.
Right.
I don't even care if there's 1,000 people. The point is more, what's great about these festivals is learning from other artists. Like we met all the guys from the Antagonist movement. We watched their documentary last night. I've known about them for a long time. I finally got to talk with them. You know what I mean? And it was great. And the Pinball Wizards here.
Yeah.
And these two, so these are people that I'm sure I'm going to work with in some capacity.
Right.
So Victoria's, and that's because Anthony's put together like-minded people. Sometimes you go to a festival, one filmmaker doesn't give a crap about the other. They don't talk to each other.
Right.
There's no kind of like Anthony. There's not people like Anthony saying, "Oh, you got to meet the Pinball Wizard. Come here."
Yeah.
So Victoria's super well run. I look forward to coming back here many times.
Cool. So, as a family, you guys got any new projects that you're going to be pushing after this, or?
Yeah, we have another movie that John and Toby are directing with, and you can explain what it's about.
It's about two hard-up middle-aged rockers.
Nice.
and they get the bright idea to rob a jewelry shoot out in the desert to pay for their recording. and all hell breaks loose.
Recording's so expensive too.
What's funny is you'll get this. They want to go old school. They want to record on a 2-inch reel and go, record on a big board. So they're spending the $40,000 so that they can, sound like the original old school recordings. So there's a lot of inside jokes about that kind of art and about artists, like, genuinity, and it's a lot of fun. But once again, it's going to be funny, brutal, and real.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so for people who want to keep track with Knuckle Jack, is there a website or a Facebook page or something they can keep up with updates on?
Yeah, WonderWheelProductions.com is our home base,
Okay.
and that's where all of our stuff goes through. And then we're on Facebook. The Shoot film is on it. Knuckle Jack is on it.
Okay.
John Adams is on it. Zelda's not on it.
No.
Cool. And guys, thanks so much for talking with us. We really appreciate that.
We really
man.
appreciate it. Thank you.